So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Food Waste Collection, What is Changing webinar. And my name is Pascal. I'm the editor of Ubernet. I'll moderate this. And we are joined by David Garcia, the Director of Public Works for Nevada County, and Larry Picard, the District Manager for Waste Management, which I'm assuming live from his office up by the airport. So, gents, welcome. And David, why don't you take it away? I believe you have a presentation for us.
All righty, let me share my screen. And I'm hoping everybody can see the presentation. Pascal, you're muted.
Yes, absolutely. We can see your presentation.
Okay, perfect. So again, David Garcia, I'm the Public Works Director for Nevada County. And before recently becoming the Public Works Director, I spent the last 9 years as the Solid Waste Program Manager for the county. I've been involved in working on SB 1383 since it was signed into law in 2016. And today, the idea of the presentation is just to give a broad or brief overview of SB 1383 for our conversation. And obviously, we want to spend most of the time answering folks' questions. So I'm going to get right into it. What is SB 1383? The purpose of SB 1383 is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from landfill decomposition of organic material. And we've been doing a pretty good job in California of diverting most, other things from the waste stream through our recycling programs, green waste programs, household hazardous waste programs. And the two big items that Cal Recycle is really focused on these days is food waste and plastics. And obviously SB 1383 is designed to address the food waste issue. About estimated 20 to 30% of our current waste stream is projected to be food waste. And there are two main components of SB 1383 as far as diverting food waste goes. A big one is edible food recovery. So a significant portion of the food that goes to landfills now is actually food that can be recovered. And one of the goals of SB 1383 is to get that food in the hands of recovery organizations. And then the remaining portion is what we'll be sending to organics processing or waste to energy facilities across the state. I want to preface by saying that we have significant challenges with SB 1383. It's an unfunded mandate, and even Cal Recycle acknowledges that there's lack of capacity, markets, and many challenges, and those things are amplified for rural jurisdictions like Nevada County. So, say that right on the onset. There's six major or main components of SB 1383. What the county or local jurisdictions are required to do. The one we'll be focusing on today is providing food waste collection for residential and business customers, establishing edible food recovery programs, as we mentioned a moment ago, outreach and education, procurement of a percentage of organic material based on population, capacity planning, and compliance and enforcement. And again, today we're focusing mostly on collections because I think that's what most folks are going to want to hear. How is it going to impact me at my house? So what will SB 1383 look like for most of you? And I should note right off the beginning that today's presentation is for unincorporated Nevada County. So the local jurisdictions have their own responsibilities or own programs, and they may be very similar, but there may also be some differences. So I want to just right on the onset say that this is focused on what's going to be happening for the unincorporated county customers. SB 1383 does require that we provide 3 carts, and we're going to do that by leveraging our existing green waste cart. So if you already have a green waste cart, that's the cart that's going to become your organics waste cart. We're going to be including food in that, and we're going to make that a weekly service instead of a bi-weekly service, which, as we'll talk about in a minute, means that there is additional costs that go along with that program. All of our material is going to be going to the Ostrom Road landfill organics waste facility in Lincoln, which is the closest processing facility and the most cost-effective processing facility for Nevada County programs. Residents can still elect to South haul the material or drive it to the McCourtney Road transfer station. And we're also encouraging folks to home compost. If you're a home composter, we think that's great, and we are not discouraging you from doing that. Additionally, we have a lot of residents that don't have access to curbside service, meaning a truck can't physically get to your house. And for many of these folks, they elect to use community stops. These customers may elect to have collection, organics collection, depending on availability of space, or you guys may still choose to self-haul to the McCourtney Road transfer station. But everyone, with a few exceptions, is going to be required to properly segregate and dispose of this new food waste material, either through waste management collection, through self-haul, or home or on-site composting. And the timeline for implementation, Waste Management's going to be delivering bins throughout the month of December to folks. If you already have a green waste bin, again, that bin is going to become your organics waste bin. And then our programs are slated to begin in January upon completion of the McCourtney Road Transfer Station project. For folks that aren't aware of the McCourtney Road Transfer Station project, we are working on, or in the final stages of, completing a $20 million renovation to the facility with two main goals. One of them is to be able to facilitate SB 1383 mandates, and the other is to address the traffic and capacity issues that we find with that 30-year-old facility. And again, that project's scheduled to be completed in December, and then we'll roll right into January, starting our food waste programs. Excuse me. So the big question that I know a lot of folks have been asking is, how's this going to affect my rates? Yes, collection rates will be going up starting in January. Again, SB 1383 is an unfunded mandate, but I did want to walk through how we came up with the rates, because we really worked hard to make sure that it was the minimum impact and that we were, meeting the state mandates and also keeping in mind the best value for customers. There's four main components that drive the cost increases. One is processing costs. It costs about twice as much to process food waste as it did clean green waste. The next is labor and equipment. So in order to go from a bi-weekly to a weekly collection program, we're actually required to have about 3.38 or 3.4 new trucks. And I know that sounds weird, but the remainder of the truck and another truck will be allocated to Grass Valley for their program. So the cost of the drivers, 3 new drivers, 3 new trucks, and maintenance and operation of those vehicles were 4 of the primary factors that went into how we determine rates. So about 50% of our customers already have a green waste cart here in Nevada County. If you do not have a green waste cart, the rate increase ranges from about $7 to $13 per month. If you do currently have a green waste cart, the rate ranges from $0 to about $6.40 per month. And the other thing I'll note is, we think that as we have 20 or 30% of your waste stream now going to this organics bin, there will be potentially opportunities for folks maybe to right size their service. So maybe you don't need the same service level you do now, which might help offset some of that cost increase. I'll note that we did rate comparisons for other jurisdictions: Placer County, Colfax, Placerville, Sacramento County, Folsom, Lodi, El Dorado Hills, etc. And although everyone's programs are slightly different, we found that the rates that we came up with were about 10% plus or minus what we're seeing in other jurisdictions. So our rate seems like it makes sense in the context of what other people are doing as well. We also incorporated a new senior or low income rate that'll also go into effect in January. This is for folks that use the 35-gallon carts. The low income portion of that is based on a CARE program. So you would show your eligibility for the CARE program to get that rate. And then folks that are 62 years of age or older would need to demonstrate that, and they would qualify for that senior discount. And then finally, we mentioned that some folks are using community stops. So we did generate a rate specifically for those folks at community stops who may elect not to have the organics waste bin. We did still include the cost for the trucks coming by, because the trucks will still be doing those routes, but we eliminated the can and the disposal charge from that. So it's a little bit less than the rate increase for folks that aren't going to have the service, but there still is a cost for being able to provide that service to folks who want it. Finally, We have contamination as a contamination monitoring, I should say, as a requirement of SB 1383. Waste Management already does this using their smart truck camera system. So they've been doing this for several years in our recycling programs. We've established a threshold of 10% contamination, which is essentially matches the acceptable limit at the Ostrom Road facility where our material is going to go. And there will be a contamination charge of $10 per occurrence, but only after Waste Management's given 3 warnings in a 12-month period, and they are required to provide digital and visual documentation of the violation. And it's really important that we provide this not only because it's a requirement of SB 1383, but also because the cost of processing organics waste increases significantly if we exceed those contamination thresholds. It's more than double to process contaminated organics. Waivers. So there are portions of the county that qualify for waivers. There's both elevation exemptions and population exemptions. So Truckee and most of Eastern County are in areas above 4,500 feet or in census tracts of less than 75 people per square mile, meaning they're exempt from the ordinance. This includes Washington or San Juan, places that already don't have curbside service from Waste Management. And I should note that the county doesn't have the authority to grant ourselves exemptions from these requirements. So exemptions and waivers are codified in SB 1383, and the state oversees our program. They make sure that we're complying with all the rules and regulations of SB 1383. They do annual reviews, and for violations, we would need to do a compliance plan to solve that problem, and also we would potentially be liable for up to $10,000 a day per occurrence worth of financial penalties. So it's pretty serious that we comply with all of the elements of SB 1383. The last thing I wanted to key people into is that we've really worked hard on our website, working with our public information team to improve the website, provide all of the resources and questions and things that people are sending our way onto the website platform, and also making the link between Waste Management's website and the county's website more easy to navigate. So, things like I need to sign up for service, we can direct you to Waste Management. Things like what is SB 1383? How does the program work for residential customers? All of that stuff is on our website. So we're encouraging folks to go to nevadacountyca.gov, go to the solid waste page, and find out all things solid waste. With that, I'm happy to open it up and start answering questions.
Thanks, David. And just for people who joined us a little later on, if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A section and we'll go through them. And so let me start out. So the first question is, I compost now, so I know it would take me months to fill a 35-gallon bin. Are there smaller sizes or alternatives?
So currently the smallest size is the 32-gallon cart. And then, as I mentioned before, we have folks in the county that have very small quantities, and those folks typically would segregate that material and self-haul to the McCourtney Road Transfer Station, which is still an option for folks that have such small quantities that it doesn't justify, using salt or Waste Management's collection service.
How do you opt out of that service? Because if Waste Management comes in December and brings new carts out, how do you opt out of it? What's the mechanics of opting out?
Larry, do you want to go through how folks would cancel their service? I mean, either you're signed up for Waste Management collection or you're not. And so it would be a matter of contacting Waste Management and canceling your service.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you opt out of service, you would contact our company. Stating you're going to self-haul. We would cancel your account, pick up your containers, and then you would have to be subject to any audits, should there be any.
There's no audits for residential customers, But again, there's no way to opt out of just the organics portion. So either
Correct.
you have waste management collection or you don't. And so those are the only options.
And as a follow-up to that, uh, people who already have a green waste container that they're charged for, will that charge be discontinued with the new program, or do they have to cancel specifically their green waste before January and then opt into get the new system?
No. If you already have a cart, you'll keep that cart. We'll be along and be placing stickers on those carts. They're colorful picture stickers. The new carts will have a hot stamp, but the existing cart will get a sticker. And then your rate come January will just automatically roll over into the organics bundle plan.
Right. And then we are seniors who live on a dirt road, and our trash is picked up in front of the house, but we have to take the recycle can to the end of the road, and we do not own a truck. Will the green waste be picked up in front of the house now too?
Yes, it will.
Yeah, if you can get a trash truck, it's the same truck that picks up trash, not the same truck, but the same size vehicle that picks up trash, recycling, and organics. So if a trash truck can get to your address, so can an organics or recycling truck.
What about people who generate very little garbage or compost? People that have we have one very small bag each week of combined garbage compost. If we have an additional bin, now we're putting half of a small bag in each bin. It's a waste of time for waste management to pick up an extra bin. Is it possible to refuse the extra bin? Well, apparently not, and just compost the food stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, SB 1383 doesn't, again, give us the authority to make those types of exemptions. It requires that we provide the 3 carts to all of our customers. And again, folks do have the option of self-hauling if they determine that they don't have enough quantity to make it worthwhile for them to use curbside collection. Or, if you don't have enough material and you want to put your bin out at, bi-weekly, for example, that's an option that customers would have to make those decisions for themselves.
And let's move on to animals. Raw waste may pose a problem for those who live in bear country, which is pretty much everybody. Any thoughts or suggestions on how to handle that issue?
So I'll start and then I'll let Larry go with his guidance on how to clean bins and such. But so we've been getting this question a lot. Food waste is already at your location, wherever your pickup location is. Food waste is in your trash now, and animals can smell food waste whether or not it's in a plastic bag. So it's going to be the same challenges and the same protocols, generally speaking, as far as making sure you don't put your bin out too early, making sure that you're taking your bins home after collection day, making sure you're storing your bins in safe places. The one caveat would be that because there's no bag in your organics bin, you probably do need to go through the process of cleaning that bin out periodically. And that's something that maybe some folks don't do with their existing trash bin. And I know, Larry, Waste Management has guidance on ways to do that on your website, I believe.
On our website, and also material that we sent out. There's also some videos that we produced about not eliminating bears, but reducing the odor and the amount of bears. We used to advise to use Pine Sol and bleach, but now with it going into the green waste, we don't want to contaminate that where our end hauler or end user will reject it from us. So the most common suggestion is baking powder to absorb those odors. Also, layering your cart with leaves or grass or pine needles will help a lot. You can also throw cardboard in your and white paper and shredded paper in your organics cart. That's all acceptable as organics, and that will help with contaminating your cart, if you will, and reduce the amount of times that you have to actually clean it out.
And
And oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to say, this is one of the challenges to living in, beautiful rural Nevada County. I mean, dealing with wildlife interfaces, it's, part of living in Nevada County, I think. And so that is going to continue to be the case after the new program.
Yep. And unfortunately, people all up and down the California and that live in foothills and higher elevations have to deal with this, and it's a challenge for sure.
And so question, can people use recyclable bags for the disposal of food waste?
So one of
No.
the challenges
Sorry,
with
Dan.
compostable, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say one of the problems with compostable bags is that although they do break down in a landfill, they don't break down fast enough for usual composting processes. So, usually at a composting facility, they're making that compost in weeks, right? 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is. And so that's not just true of plastic bags, but a lot of like utensils, like plastic, organic utensils, and foodware, or uh, plasticware bowls and such. All of those things, well, they are much better than traditional plastics in a landfill. They're still not going to allow for the proper time to compost in a composting facility. So the list that we have of acceptable stuff is based on Ostrom Road's requirements.
And
I will say brown paper bags are acceptable.
Yeah, cardboard and traditional paper are.
and what about compostable paper plates? Can they go into the food waste?
If they're paper plates that don't have a wax or a film on them, they're acceptable. If they have a wax or a film or a shiny surface, as David mentioned, it would take too long for that to break down for their processes.
Okay. Next question is, what is the best way to trade a large green waste bin in for a senior, just to and reduce it to a small 35-gallon?
The best way is after the first of the year, contact us and we'll come out and exchange it for you. Other than that, we have a lot of deliveries to do in December, so it's going to be quite hectic. But after the quote unquote dust settles, we'll be able to make those changes within a week or so.
And is Lake Wildwood included in the mandate?
Yes, Lake Wildwood is in the county.
And
If a waste management truck can get
Yeah.
to your residence, then it's included.
And I got a couple of questions of people wanting the slides, etc. So we will post the whole webinar right after this is over. We will post it on YouTube, and fairly certain it will be on the county website as well. So you can refer to the slides and the information. I believe, David, it's already on your website, so people can find it if they go to Nevada County, the .ca.gov, and go to /organics.
And that's including the rates, and all of that other information is already on our website.
And what is the difference between the bundled rate and waiver customer rates, if there is a difference?
So again, the community stop customer rate has the truck cost, because the trucks still do the routes and they still stop at all the community stops. And folks that want to elect to have organic service can have organic service. But those folks who it's not practical for me to use that because it's a community stop location. So we have the truck cost minus the cost of the can and the cost of actually, processing the material. So basically it's kind of a hybrid, if you will, where it includes a portion of the fixed cost and it eliminates the specific cost for you not having that cart.
And I know this is about residential customers, but how is this going to affect businesses? Are employees going to have to separate food waste as well? And are landlords going to provide the green bins, assuming that they provide garbage and recycling services?
Yes. If they have trash service with us, they will be getting a green cart, unless the business, either through the county or the city of Grass Valley, obtains a waiver, then yes, they're subject to the program as well.
And just a little bit about the waivers. Again, SB 1383 is very specific about who qualifies for their waivers. Again, all that information is on our website. And it's a very, very narrow threshold. But if you think about businesses that don't generate food waste, like, for example, you have a dentist office that has, 4 or 5 employees and they don't really have a kitchen. I mean, they're probably going to qualify for a waiver because they just don't generate, enough food waste for it to register. But in restaurants, any food generating or having business is certainly going to have to comply with the requirements.
What about people who have renters on the same property where they have sort of the landlord and the renters share an address? How do they get bins for their renters?
So, and Larry, you could speak to this. It would be the same way they get service through Waste Management now. I mean, your collection service would now just include food waste.
David, you're correct.
And we have a bunch of questions that deal with wildlife. And then again, when can people change over to the senior rate?
They can come in or get online and apply for it. The senior rate won't take effect until the organics rates take effect, but they can apply anytime. There's a couple of steps they have to go through, but once they do that, it'll be applied to their account when the new rates start in January.
And again, that's for the 35-gallon cart.
Yeah, it's only the 35-gallon cart bundle. They can get online. They're welcome to come to our office. If you go to either our website or the county website, it'll direct you to both.
Now, what about people who have right now who have 2 green waste cans? Do they have to give up one?
No, they do not. They keep their cans. They automatically convert them into organics, and that's it.
So there could be, that is one of the options though, is if a customer now has 2 cans and finds that because they have weekly service, they no longer need 2 cans, then again, that might be an opportunity for them to offset some of the cost difference by just going to the weekly can that they're going to have already. So we anticipate that there's going to be folks that find out that their level of service can change depending on how this new program works for them.
And again, just to be clear, right? So the green waste card will hold food waste, the pine needles, the prunings, etc., everything mixed together.
Correct, along with some other what we would normally throw in our recycle bins, such as cardboard, pizza boxes, white paper, shredded paper, anything without a film that's fibrous. So.
And if I can share my screen, Pascal, for just
Please.
a second, I can show folks a little bit more from what's going on the website. And I'm showing this just, again, if folks have questions about some of this, I'm just on the food collection portion of the Nevada County website. And, we have all the different carts, things that go in the green cart, the blue cart, the black cart, picture versions of those examples. And then going through, again, what are the fee increases, residential customers, FAQs. So all of this stuff is on our website. if folks want to, come and get a little bit more of a deep dive into the program specifically.
Yeah, I think that that's really helpful because we have a lot. There's of course a lot of questions in the Q&A, but we also have people asking. I only have I only subscribe to the recycle can. I take my trash to the transfer station. I almost said dump. Notice I did not say dump, to the transfer station, and I'm a senior, live alone, don't generate much. Do I have to get this green waste bin? Can I just get a compost container? And what to do with cardboard with food waste? I think we just went over that. So, but do you have to, is there a way to just have recycling and nothing else? Just recycling service?
So again, SB 1383 now requires that we provide all customers with 3 carts. So that's state mandate. We're required to provide that. As far as cardboard goes, I know that was the kind of the second question. Clean cardboard can still go in your recycling bin, but if it's like a pizza box with cheese on it, now it can go into the organics bin. And the same with like, paper plates, where once it's kind of got that food grease on it, usually we would say that has to go into the trash. And now with the organics container, that can go into the organics container again, unless it's the wrong type of, there's a lot of compostable papers, like coffee cups, for example, that have that shiny film in it, which then makes it so it's not recyclable anymore. So got to be careful of what type of product you're buying, but generally speaking, if it's acceptable and it's got food waste on it, now it can go into the organics bin.
And just to add to the customer that only has a recycle can, they are able to take recycling out to McCourtney Road as well and get rid of it for free. And we also have a household residential commingle recycle lot, if you will, up off of Loma Rica Road by the airport, that residents can come up and dump the recyclables for free. So there's those options out there if they still don't want the 3-bin system.
And where does animal waste go? Think litter boxes.
Trash.
That was easy. And then, are there any tax-related cost increases for the program?
No.
No, just your monthly rate will go up for your service, but there's no new taxes.
And normally at the beginning of the year, Waste Management sends an envelope with stickers for extra bags. Will they still be sent?
Yes. None of that is changing.
And actually, the other thing, Larry, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things we've been really working on is trying to figure out what the new routes will look like. And it looks like the route days aren't going to change for anybody either, which we were concerned that, whenever you do a big change like that, it's confusing. And we're trying to make the impact as minimal as possible, folks. So your service day won't change. What time your bin gets picked up might. But your service day itself won't change again, because we'll now have that extra route for folks.
That is absolutely correct.
And there's apparently some counties that offer a super saver plan with only bi-weekly pickup. Is that at all an option?
No.
And then somebody asked, we compost our own green waste. Can we not get waste management service without the green waste bundle? And is composting green waste completely free? I don't believe so.
Well, I think I kind of understand that question. So again, we're required to provide the 3 carts. And as part of that, you get your green waste / organics waste service. So the options are home composting, self-hauling to the transfer station, or having that 3-cart service through Waste Management.
And the food waste, does that include meat products?
Cooked meat can go into the organics bin. Raw meat, I believe, has to go into the trash. Is that correct, Larry?
I believe so, including like steak bones, and those can't go in the compost.
And
on the website here, it says cooked meat, fish, poultry, including bones, go into the green cart.
and if people self-haul to the transfer station in plastic bags, do they need to empty the bag and then haul the bag to the recycling area, or since it's soiled, does it go
Trash.
trash area? And what should they use to transport the food waste in a passenger car?
So they can use pretty much anything they want. A 5-gallon bucket from like the hardware store.
With lid?
With the lid is usable. And then when they get to the organics area of the transfer station, they just dump it out onto the floor and put the lid back on, take it home, rinse it out. A lot of people are suggesting, and what I've seen in the area that I live in, which is not Nevada County, a lot of people put their excess food or food waste in a small container and put it in the freezer and freeze it. That when they dump it, it doesn't make a mess. It comes out all in one fell swoop, and there's not much cleaning to do. So
also, we're giving away free countertop pails that folks can use, in your kitchen as you have little bits of food scrap, and then you can take that out and dump it in your organics bin. And those are free. So if you come to the Root Center and go to the CDA counter, we'll give you your free compost pail.
Very stylish.
Very stylish, yes.
So somebody's asking, if I don't throw everything in the compost bin and instead use my regular trash can, you're gonna check my garbage?
eventually they will. Who's going to be doing it? Like I said, we have or as David mentioned, we have our third eye system, but that doesn't open the bags and look in the bags. As I mentioned, the area that I live in, we've been doing this for 2+ years, and I've heard stories of people going around and opening trash cans and opening trash bags, and if there's food waste in it, finding the residents. So I can't say what the program will look like up here and when, but it's all part of the state process.
Yeah, the state does require that we do contamination monitoring and enforcement. And again, they're not ambiguous about our role and responsibility in doing that. And if we don't do that, we will get corrective action plans implemented, and the state will come in and oversee those programs themselves. So there's really no way around implementing SB 1383. And the county is obligated to do that, and if we don't, again, the state will come in and do it for us. So we are trying to make it a good program for Nevada County. We're trying to keep folks, the rates in mind, because we understand that that's a burden on customers, commercial and residential. And also, I think what we're hearing from other jurisdictions that are ahead of us is that once the programs get implemented, folks do quickly become familiar with and used to the programs. And there's a lot of other ancillary benefits, right? Obviously there's environmental benefits to composting and all of that. But also, 50% of our customers don't have a green waste bin, and we have a green waste problem in Nevada County. So more access to being able to dispose of yard trimmings and all that stuff without, having to necessarily go to the transfer station every time you want to do that. I think that's an overall benefit to us just dealing with our organics problem here in Nevada County for fire safety reasons, et cetera. I also recognize that if you have a 40-acre lot, 64-gallon can once a week isn't going to solve all your problems, but it's certainly not going to hurt.
And speaking of the compost, so will that compost be available for Nevada County residents to use, or what's happening to that?
So the compost again goes to Ostrom, but as part of SB 1383, we are required to procure, the county and jurisdictions are required to procure a certain percentage of, material back from those programs. The way Nevada County meets that goal is we have a partnership with a nonprofit called Zero Foodprint. And the way Zero Foodprint works is it provides rebates to farmers or folks that use more than 5 tons of compost. And last year in 2024, we had about 800 tons of compost used in Nevada County from that program. And we have information about that on our website too. So if you know of a local farmer or somebody with a need for 5 tons of compost, we would encourage them to participate in that program and take advantage of that.
And somebody is asking, what does Incorporated have to do with this program? If it's a state law, why is everybody not included? I believe everybody is included. It's just that the cities do their own program.
There are exceptions, like, for example, the city of Nevada City is exempt due to their population. And again, that's done directly, that exemption is directly based on state guidance and SB 1383 regulations. The city of Grass Valley is required to have their own program with all of the components that we mentioned here today, and they're actually in the final stages of that process. So their program is likely going to start right with our program. The rollouts are going to kind of be one long process, and their services are going to look very similar to the county service. But again, their rates are potentially going to be different, and they have different challenges than we do. So, rural Nevada County has, different issues than the city. For example, the city doesn't have community stops. So the programs do have little variations. And then, Eastern County, like I mentioned, like Truckee, they have an exemption, an elevation exemption, but they still have versions of organics programs that they're implementing. So it's not going to look like ours because they're not required to have the same programs as us because they're exempt, but also they have different challenges with, snow and et cetera, et cetera. So Truckee will have a food waste program that looks different than unincorporated Nevada County, that looks different potentially from the city of Grass Valley, but all of us have a requirement to comply with SB 1383.
And then a lot of questions about the supposedly compostable plastic. Where does that go now? Where does the rest of the plastics go? And people now, you can put your batteries on top of the recycle bin. Is that gonna change, or how do we get to recycle our batteries now?
So the battery program still remains. Put in a Ziploc bag and put it on top of your recycle container, and we'll collect it on your recycle day every other week. As far as single-use plastics,
we also, for just before you leave batteries, we also have drop-off locations at all the libraries in the community, at the Root Center. Correct. So you can go again to our website and find different locations to recycle batteries. We even have a tube here for when customers come in the front office, they can drop household batteries. No lithium batteries, please, because fires, and they have to be handled separately. But as far as the plastic bags and the single-use plastics, those all go in the trash.
And so the question, for those of us who have community pickup, we don't really have control over anyone driving by and dumping their trash in our cans, how's that going to be handled if we follow rules and somebody comes along and just dumps their garbage in our trash can?
Yeah, so if you're at a community stop, as David mentioned earlier, you're exempt from the organics program. That information will be shared with the state, and also when and if there's a crew to go around doing the monitoring, that will all be taken into consideration. Your cans at a community stop, they understand and realize there's a little control for customers. Same thing that goes on now with recycling. We get customers that people throw their trash bag into somebody's recycle can, and they'll get a letter, but it's just a letter stating that hey, we noticed this, but we also recognize it's a community stop.
So, and so in Truckee and the Soda Springs area, the residents are required to have bear-proof storage containers. So, is there any thought being given to this in Nevada County? And the last time this person looked, there were bear-proof containers available, but they couldn't get picked up in the regular pickup. So can you speak to that?
So a couple of things. One thing is we do have a rate for folks that have a bear-proof container that Waste Management will service those containers. But right now, the way it works is folks have to buy those containers. We've also included a rate for Waste Management to provide bear-proof containers, but one of the issues we're finding is that the bear-proof containers generally don't meet SB 1383 requirements for lid colors. And so that's something I know we're having discussions on the state level about that. And it's one of the challenges. The other thing that we included as a change was latching or bin latches. So essentially for a rate, Waste Management can come out, grab your bin and put a latch on it for you, which isn't bear proof, but it's certainly better than not having that latch on your cart. So a couple of different options, but what we're finding with SB 1383, as I mentioned earlier, is there are challenges unique to rural jurisdictions. And we're working with state partners, we're lobbying at the state level to try to improve SB 1383 and have SB 1383 take into consideration the challenges we have in rural jurisdictions. But as I'm sure most folks listening today understand, making changes like that to state mandates is often a slow process. So we're working through that as best we can.
And I have somebody shouting in the Q&A, please tell people about the GV meeting on the 26th, on November 26th at 6 p.m. Is that one of your meetings?
That's a city council meeting for the city of Grass Valley. They went through the same process that Nevada County went through. They opted or implemented the Prop 218. So there's a meeting on the 26th of November at City Hall, City Council meeting that the public is invited to go and speak on it. But it's only for the city of Grass Valley. It has nothing to do with Nevada County. Nevada County has already adopted the program and is moving forward with it.
And now we have, I am in Nevada City. I know this because I have cable TV and was told I could just get it because I am in Nevada City limits. And it was just stated that Nevada City is exempt because of the low population. So what gives?
So like I mentioned earlier, Nevada City is exempt, but I believe Nevada City is looking at implementing something similar to what the other jurisdictions are implementing. Technically, they're not required to do that. And I don't know where they're at in that process with Waste Management as far as, coordinating that or negotiating that as part of their contract. But again, they are technically exempt from the requirements. And so I would imagine that if they adopt SB 1383 programs, that they might look different than the county programs, because they're not required to meet all the same criteria as the county programs. But also because obviously economies of scale, it's not that much more difficult for waste management to provide those services to Nevada City. So, like I said, I think those conversations are happening. Not sure exactly what that's going to look like. They're not, as far as I am aware, going through the same formal process as the city of Grass Valley and the county are, finalizing now.
And if self-haulers to the transfer station, can they get fined if they mix trash and whatnot?
So again, requirements of SB 1383 are that we do compliance monitoring, and so that includes with self-haulers at the transfer station. So if you're coming to the transfer station and you have contaminated organics waste, then yeah, there's folks that will be taking a look at that. There's going to be folks on the tipping floor watching, making sure that we're not contaminating. And again, it's a requirement of SB 1383 that we're doing compliance and contamination monitoring, but it's also a big deal for us on the back end, because if somebody's contaminating that stream, it makes it significantly more expensive for everyone else. And what we want to try to do is have the cleanest, best product possible coming out of Nevada County.
And just to, we have a lot of requests. Can you repeat the URL again for where people can find all this information?
Let me share my screen one more time, just so folks can see it firsthand. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, so I'm on the NevadaCountyCA.gov website, and this is the solid waste page. So if you go onto the Nevada County CA website and you go to departments, and it's going to make me, I'm on community development. I got to go to the main screen so I can start this over for you. There we go. Yeah, so if you go to the NevadaCountyCA.gov website and navigate using this departments thing to the solid waste department, all kinds of information and resources about our programs. We have rates for the transfer station. We have that compost procurement program I spoke about earlier. And here's your organics tab. And again, all things food waste program available on this page. And again, this is the food waste collection / organics section of the NevadaCountyCA.gov solid waste page.
And again, you can also find it if you just go to the NevadaCountyCA.gov website and you type in food waste or
so the easiest way, if you're on our main page, is just this is the main county page, and just go to departments and solid waste.
There you go. That is pretty easy.
And I would imagine if you searched it in Google, it would probably come right up as well. Nevada County solid waste.
Yep, absolutely. And then so we have a lot of questions that come for the still asking about if people can get access to the compost, and also if for a say a farmer, etc., is it 5 tons of compost or more?
5 tons, yeah.
Okay. And okay, so here I have a carpet with battery acid on it from my golf cart. How do I dispose of that? Where does that go?
Trash. McBurney Road Transfer Station, trash pit.
Correct. Although we do carpet recycling out there, that we cannot recycle.
Yeah, clean carpet can be recycled at the McCourtney Road transfer station. Mattresses can be recycled at the transfer station. Again, clean mattresses,
Yep.
i.e., not waterlogged or mold or any other problems like that on them. They can be recycled. So we have lots and lots of diversion programs at the facility. But yeah, if it's got battery acid on it, probably not. Or you could cut that section out and recycle the rest of the carpet, probably.
Well, if it's from a golf cart, I don't suppose
think
it's well that.
Yeah.
So what about farm animal waste and shavings? Nope.
No, that doesn't go into the organic stream.
Correct.
Yeah. And also, if I shred my white paper, do I put the shred in a plastic bag? No. You just
Nope. You can put it in a brown bag and staple it shut so it doesn't blow all over the place when we dump it, but no plastic, please.
Plastic bags are our biggest problem in our recycling stream. So no plastic bags. They're a big no. And just to touch on this, because I know we have a couple of minutes and I know there's a lot of folks that are concerned or have questions about plastics. Plastics, like I mentioned in my presentation, are another really big kind of focus for CalRecycle. And at the state level, there's been, in the last couple of years, lots and lots of pieces of legislation dealing specifically with truth in advertising, making sure that those little triangle symbols actually mean that stuff gets recycled, producer responsibility, making sure that folks that are manufacturing plastics are actually responsible for making sure they get recycled. All of those things are in process, and that's probably going to be the next big thing that folks will see. It's called SB 54, which is, again, a plastics focused version of SB 1383. So plastics is a big deal across the state, and something that is getting addressed on the state level. And usually it starts on the state level and then it trickles down to jurisdictions like ours.
And then again, we will post this meeting on YouTube so that all the questions and most importantly the answers will be available for everybody, complete with the slides and everything else. And thank you. Oh, and then we have, what is the contractual relationship between Nevada County and Waste Management? Asks a person that has never sat through one of the gazillion Board of Soups meetings where those contracts are being discussed.
So the Waste Management works for Nevada County. So they're our contractor for curbside collection for hauling and also for operating the McCourtney Road transfer station. The transfer station belongs to the county, but we contract with Waste Management to operate the facility for us. So they are under contract to the county, and then the solid waste division manages those contracts. So we work closely with Waste Management on a nearly daily basis, developing programs like SB 1383, developing rates, dealing with any sort of customer service issues that come through us, operational issues. For example, when we're going through the McCourtney Road transfer station redesign project, as you can imagine, having a construction project and having Waste Management operating, we work closely to work through issues with that. So essentially, Waste Management works for the county, and the county works closely with them to make sure that we're providing the best service possible to Nevada County residents and commercial customers.
And again, if you need the details, go to nevadacountyca.gov/organics. That is actually going to take you directly to that page, and it's like, yeah, that goes there. You find everything, and from there you can navigate. The search function works really well. And just to repeat, no, you cannot use compostable plastic bags if they to put waste or put them into your compost and the wasting, because they take too long to decompose, if I got that correctly. But if you have anything, you can put it in brown paper bags, right?
Right. We encourage people to use compostable plastic bags for their regular trash, because anything helps. It'll still decompose in the landfill and much faster than a regular plastic bag. But as you just mentioned, food waste in a plastic bag, that plastic compostable bag will not decompose quick enough for the process that's occurring at Ostrom Road.
Excellent. Well, with that, we are just at the 1 hour mark, and I am hoping that we answered a lot, probably not all of the questions, but many questions have been answered. There were a lot of duplicates. There are some people who emailed very detailed questions to us, and I would really encourage everybody, again, go to nevadacountyca.gov/organics and get your questions answered. Again, it's gonna take effect once the transfer station, once all that construction is done. And I have to say,
First full week in January is when we're anticipating starting our collection programs.
then, and by then you will have your additional bins. And for those who say, oh my God, 3 bins. So I'm definitely over 62, but I grew up in Luxembourg, and at the time I believe it was 4 or 5 bins, and it has expanded since, so it's okay. And again, there's always the option to self-haul, and you can also compost, and it's great for your garden. Make your own compost, it's great if you can, if you don't have too many critter problems, but I think that's it. So with that, Larry, David, thanks for being here. Thank you, everybody who attended. And again, it'll be up on YouTube shortly. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for hosting, Pascal.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome. Bye-bye.